huge news for Bitcoin, both potentially really good news and potentially quite bad news, depending on how these stories actually end up playing out. And all of it potentially game-changing in its perspective. Now let's start off with some good news here. We could be seeing a major blow to all these SEC enforcement actions that we've been seeing over the past months and couple of years. As it is looking right now, Grayscale is favored to win their lawsuit against the SEC, which is challenging the denial of their BTC ETF application. Grayscale is currently holding 630,000 Bitcoin in their trust, which is stuck because it's a one-way street. They don't allow for redemptions. If that's turned into a Bitcoin ETF, it would be a big moment for crypto in the USA and the world, really, because it would be the first Bitcoin ETF to start trading in the United States, and it would be a big smackdown to the SEC. The market has been screaming for a regulated product like this, for a Bitcoin ETF for years, and getting one in the USA would be a big deal because remember, the US equity markets represent more than 50% of all global equity market share. It's a damn big deal. The final decision in this case is not going to come until Q2 or even Q3. But this is a big one to keep on your radar because it has massive implications. It could unleash a flood of liquidity into the cryptocurrency markets if it were to be approved. Remember that when the USA finally approved a gold ETF back in the early 2000s, it set off a massive rally that saw the price of gold increase by 360 damn %. Could a Bitcoin approval see something similar happen? Well, it'd be pretty cool. It would even come up with a bit of coincidence that the Bitcoin halving would be coming just a few months after that ETF product is approved. Bullish vibes if that happens, in my opinion. Also, if this doesn't happen and they do lose the case, then it's probably not very positive for markets. That actually sets then a negative legal precedent. Now let's talk about the macroeconomics and inflation stuff. Time to get out your nerd glasses, man. In particular, I want to talk about the inflation prediction for next week. You see, while the market has been generally kind of like freaking the heck out over Jerome Powell's statements that he made earlier this week, basically that rate hikes could go on for longer than initially expected due to, of course, stubbornly strong economic data. Basically, not enough people have lost their jobs yet, so they're gonna keep raising up interest rates. The real story though is, and always has been, inflation, what's going on with inflation. And what I'm gonna share with you is actually very, very interesting. You see, right now they are predicting inflation numbers for February, which are going to end up being announced on March 14th, next week, are actually going to drop down to around 5.4%. Now that is down from 6.4% last month. That's a big drop. It's a shocking drop. This is coming in from the Cleveland Federal Reserve. And if they are right, and to be clear, the Cleveland Federal Reserve has a strong history of being right and accurately predicting these numbers, and that their predictions for inflation, they have been pretty damn scarily accurate, then this means that inflation is set to drop a full percentage point this month. That's huge. If it happens, I think that really softens the blow to what we've been seeing recently in the markets, and it'll of course make the Fed raising interest rates up to 6%, which some people are starting to freak out about, much less likely to happen. And if we keep moving dramatically down like we have been, then the inflation crisis could actually be ending a lot sooner than expected. Fingers crossed for that. And that obviously that means a Fed pivot, that means easier monetary times, and what we all really want, all of our digital moon money to go to the moon. The sooner we see an end to the economic and macro fears, the better it's gonna be for markets. It's just that simple. Now, before I share a very interesting chart with you, and we talk about a potential sell-off of 49,000 Bitcoin, as well as new US tax proposals, which are gonna hit crypto investors big time, I just want to let you know about Wealth Mastery. This is my free crypto newsletter. I send it out every week, twice to your inbox. And I know how it is, guys. You struggle to find the time to hunt down all that money-making alpha in the market. I get it. There's the job, there's the kids, there's the wife, there's trying to think for yourself once in a while. I got you covered. Every week to your inbox, you're gonna get the latest altcoin alpha, the latest airdrops, the best DeFi farms, the latest NFT mints, technicals, news updates, all that stuff. Join our over 55,000 weekly readers, and you can sign up for free using that link down below in the description. Now, a little bit of hopium here to stick into the veins. Europe's biggest asset manager, Amundi, they've come out saying that if inflation remains above target, then Bitcoin's limited supply may start to attract more attention. I know, guys, that may not sound like, the most bullish, insane, nuts statement, but remember who it is. It's Amundi. And you gotta remember then that almost every single major asset manager in the world is bullish on Bitcoin. They're providing access for their clients to get access to Bitcoin. Amundi, BlackRock, Fidelity, Most of the top 100 asset managers are providing Bitcoin access. They know. They know. Also, check out this chart here, which shows that the logarithmic MACD has crossed bullish on the 3-week chart. The last 3 times this happened has been at the start of a major bull cycle. The only question you need to ask yourself when looking at that chart, is this time different or not? And as they say, this time is different, the most dangerous words uttered in the history of investing. And to be clear, this is just the start of a run. It's going to take time to reach a peak. Usually takes like 18 months or something from the time we get those kind of signals, but still encouraging and nice to see. Next, let's talk about the US government, which has moved 49,000 Bitcoin to Coinbase. A billion bucks of Bitcoin, man. Yo, the coins have been seized in various enforcement actions over time, and these coins are now going to be sold off, as what happens to seized Bitcoin that the US government takes. They sell it eventually. The fear here, of course, is someone's just going to click on that market sell button and market sell a billion Bitcoin. That's not going to happen though. It's not how they do it. My guess is that Coinbase will manage the sale of these coins for the Department of Justice, slowly selling them off over time so as to get the best price for the DOJ, and of course not to destroy the markets. Probably going to be a nothing burger, this story, in terms of any kind of real price impact, but that's a lot of Bitcoin, man. And it does, of course, have the potential to suppress prices if it's not managed correctly. So there is that to think about. Now let's talk about some new tax proposals coming out of the USA. And to be clear, just a proposal at this point from the Biden administration. It may not actually end up passing the Republican-controlled Senate, so, you know, keep that in mind. Grain of salt, right? Okay, so first thing, 25% tax on billionaires doesn't really apply to, well, I imagine almost anyone listening to this video, but more importantly, for you as a cryptocurrency investor, they're going to be doubling capital gains tax from 20 to 40%, meaning you're going to get slammed hard on profits from crypto in the next bull run, if it passes. Dubai just keeps sounding better and better, doesn't it? Not that a higher capital gains tax is going to stop speculation. People are still going to speculate on markets, right? But it just screws you that little bit harder when you go to pay your taxes. But the real big kick in the nuts to crypto investors is a proposal to not allow tax loss harvesting on crypto anymore. Every other asset lets you do that, but they're proposing, let's exempt crypto from that. It's such a BS thing, man. When you win, they want to take, gimme. When you lose, nothing to do with it. Oh, it's your risk, buddy. Your risk, not our risk. It's all part, of course, of the continuing crackdown on the cryptocurrency industry, which is taking place in the USA right now. It is a full spectrum attack on crypto, from banking to staking to exchanges to stable coins, right on down the list. And it's getting ugly. We'll see, of course, how it continues to play out, and we'll keep an eye on that very important story for you here on the channel. Okay, that's it. Subscribe now. See you next time.